Hundreds of Coastal Bend residents prepared for hurricane season at the first annual Storm Expo. Various businesses and agencies were there to educate people on what to do for major weather events. Our 3 News reporter Madeline Dart tells us some preparedness tips and what officials have to say.
Well, you know what they say, fail to prepare, prepare to fail. And the city of Corpus Christi doesn't want residents to fall into that trap in the case of a major weather event. So they started the Storm Expo as a resource for residents to get ahead.
Hurricane Harvey surprising the Coastal Bend nearly 10 months ago. And if disaster strikes again, the city of Corpus Christi wants residents to be prepared.
We can be a target for a storm, and what a great way to prepare by coming on a one-stop shop and learning more about how to protect you and your family.
Director of Communications for the city, Kim Womack, says the Storm Expo was a chance for residents to meet with insurance agencies, local representatives, and emergency officials.
Preparing our residents for potential storm, bad weather, anything kind of in between, and today we've had a great day.
The day proving to be successful. Billy Delgado, the emergency management coordinator, offering his expert advice on planning ahead, such as having backup water, food, medication, important documents, and a travel route.
Now's the time to have a family plan. If you're going to evacuate, know where you're going to evacuate to.
Corpus Christi residents Mary and Rudy De La Garza recall the chaos right before Hurricane Harvey. They say if a weather disaster strikes again,
we want to be prepared.
So they attended the expo, learning important lessons the easy way.
It's an eye-opener. We want to get more information on what to do, what not to do.
Womack and Delgado saying the best way to get ahead is to be prepared.
We're so excited that our residents have come and taken advantage of Storm Expo.
Preparedness is the most important thing right now.
For a full list of hurricane and storm preparedness tips, you can head over to KIIITV.com for more information.